Hello everyone, this is Benjamin, and for today's video, I'm going to be doing 20 puzzles and then a game versus a 1600 bot. If you are watching this after the live stream and you want to skip to the game, that's perfectly fine. Just to let you know the game, I'm going to be focused on undefended pieces, development, pawn play, and trades. Those are the four things I would like to focus on. So let's get started. Some puzzles. Like 20 puzzles first. I think it's very important to when you do puzzles. I think it's very important to do them first before playing chess. It usually helps. This is a check and a checkmate. It's a back rank mate because these pawns. One of the most first checkmates you ever learn. This here also works because it's defended by the rook. So it's the same thing. It works because of the rook. The next thing here, back rank mate again. King is blocked in by his own pieces and pawns this time, not just the rook, but the same idea. Here, the king is blocked in. Can't go because of this pawn. So he can't go, and this pawn's here. So this check, it has the same idea. He can block a little bit, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, once you learn the pattern, you'll see in games in many different ways. So I know some people think puzzles don't matter or translate to games, and they do. Here's a checkmate threat. The kings would be in check. The pawns are in the way. The rook's in the way. Can't move here because the queen. So it's checkmate. This is another checkmate pattern. Here is another checkmate. This is check. The king won't be able to move anywhere because the queen has everything covered. So even if these pawns weren't here and this rook wasn't here, it would still be checkmate. I mean, obviously, I have to take this pawn, so this pawn has to be there to take it. But all this doesn't really matter, and there's nothing that can take it. So checkmate. Here, the rook is guarding here. You have the pawn blocking here. The queen can come down. The only place right now the king can move is here. But once the queen reaches this square is covered by the queen, which is checkmate. So one way to find checkmates in positions like this is first try to figure out where the king can move and where he can't move. So obviously, I pointed out all the places he cannot move and why. And this is the only square here. And this right here will be a check, and it'll be covering that square. That's checkmate. That's the best ways to find checkmate when you first start off. Here is another checkmate pattern. This right here is a check. And this can't move here because of knight. So it's checkmate. This here is a check. The king can't go anywhere, so it's checkmate. Blocked in by his own pieces. And he can't go here because the bishop. So it's checkmate. It's white to move. Okay. So this right here is a check. And this is blocked off. This is blocked off by the knight. This is defending the queen. And the queen has its covered. So that would be checkmate. So everything's completely covered. When you get used to stuff like this, you would eventually start doing it in your games, and it would feel very good when you do it. I know I've done a lot of them. Some people think I get lucky. It's like, no, I've learned enough. You know, it takes a while. It does. And that's okay. You know, nothing that is learned easy is worth learning, right? This is a check. The king can't move here and here because the queen. So the king has two spaces. It doesn't matter which one he goes to because the queen would take this pawn and hit both squares. So it doesn't matter. So this is a check. The computer probably move the pawn, rook up. You take it. Probably move this rook up too. And if he does, you can easily take it with the rook. And the king can only go here and here. And then this right here would be checkmate. That would be the best way to go about it. The reason why you don't want to, what's that called? Take it with the queen here is because the king will start to escape a little bit. He might go here, and he call it check, and he move here, and it's not really mate. So you want to make sure that you take off the correct piece. Okay, that works too. But it's important to learn the puzzle completely and why. Like sometimes you get the move right and you're right, but if you don't know why, it's not really that important. It doesn't really help you. Like he just puts a number up. Like, yeah, I'm a number puzzle 11 now, you know. So really, really make sure that you understand and learn your the reasons behind it. Okay, check. This will go up. You can take with the knight. I think that's what you're supposed to do. You take with the knight. If you hitting the rook will move, and then you can move the knight out the way. Call it check again. I don't know if there's a checkmate though. It looks like more of a. Let's say the rook goes here for some reason. You can move back. The rook is forced to go up. That would be mate if that's the case. Check. Take with the knight. If he takes this way, you just take the rook. And the last but not least, if he goes here, you can go back and call check. The king will go over. So basically, everything's mate unless he sacrifices the rook. So you call check. He goes up. He takes, and you take the rook. All right. Sometimes winning isn't always checkmate. It's winning a piece. Like when you attack and you're trying to checkmate the king, if let's say you don't checkmate the king or you don't find a way to checkmate, but you win a piece or have a good advantage or somehow mess up their pawns so you can build an attack, sometimes that's a successful attack. Not all successful attacks have to lead to checkmate. Sometimes having the advantage is enough to win a game. So sometimes going for advantages is very good. Okay, so now here, this is all covered right here, and these are covered, but this pawn is not, all right? And for black, this right here is covered because of knight, and this is covered because of king. So the only move in this position that's a check, and that also covers here, and it hits the king, is moving the rook over. And the rook will be defended by the bishop. And then we come down, and we check. That's checkmate. All right. Here is a little tricky, but it's another pattern. You can call it check. The king can't move because the bishop and his own pawns. So he's forced to take. He's forced. Then you call it check. And he can block one move. That'll be checkmate. That's a checkmate. Here, these are all covered by the knight, the rook, and this is blocking the king. So the king really has nowhere to go, but he's not in check. So if you can cover all those squares and put him in check while covering all the squares and without releasing one, that'll be checkmate. And the only way you can do that is by putting the rook right here. All right. Let's see here. This looks a little bit different. My first thought is maybe taking here because I don't like it, but I feel like there's more. This right here is a check, right? Yeah, this is the only check that's probably good. Now, if the king moves up, I'm trying to find a way to save this bishop. I really am. I can take the rook for free, but let's see if I can do more before I finish the puzzle. A check right here. I mean, if he blocks it off, I can still take. I think that might be checkmate, actually. Go ahead. All right, well, see, that's the thing. Like, I got to go back and really look at it because I'm pretty sure it was checkmate, but I didn't really calculate it fully, and that doesn't help me because in a game, what if I play that move and it wasn't checkmate because I wasn't sure and then I messed up, right? So you don't want to do that. You want to be sure. Here, this is pinned. The queen is pinned, right? So if you take this pawn, the queen can't take the rook, right? But the queen can take this queen, okay? So if you take here and the queen takes the queen, you have an in-between move. You take the rook, it's check. The king has to move, and then you take the queen back. So you win a piece, and you win the game. All right? Here is a check. The king only has one square to move, and this is checkmate. It's a very common pattern with the pawn and queen. When the king castles, usually if you're able to throw one of the pawns up and get them lodged in here, sometimes this happens in games, and you can actually win games that way. Here is a little odd. If I call check and he takes, and then I call check, He has nowhere to move his king. He has to go back with the rook. It has to be checkmate. So he sacrificed the queen for checkmate. All right. Let's see here. The first check I think seems pretty okay is right here, but the rook can move back. I'm trying to think of a follow-up. It might not be the answer. Yeah, I don't see the answer for that one. So that might not be it. Trying to think of a way to check the king and maybe checkmate. And if I don't see a checkmate, then the next thing I have to look for is how to win a piece. That's the second thing to look for in puzzles. Oh, what am I thinking? If I call check and he moves back, I can easily just take with the queen. So if I call check, he may actually just move up. And then from here, I might be able to bishop in to call check, forcing him to go back. And the queen can go here, which is checkmate. So that might be a checkmate. If I call check and he moves rook, I take. Okay, so I'm getting a piece or I'm getting a checkmate by moving my queen right here. I take. Yeah, and then from here, it would be checkmate if I can go right here, but I can't. I can set it up with the bishop to go here, but then he can defend it with the rook, right? The rook can come here and defend it, so I can't do checkmate that way. But if I go here, I'll be threatening checkmate two different ways. And he can't cover both squares. Luckily, his bishop's right here. If his bishop wasn't here, would he be able to defend both? No. His knight would have to go here to defend both. Or here. And he doesn't have access to these squares of his knight. So this threat will be checkmate. Ooh, it's not good. I'm going to have to look that one up. And you guys can always, if you want, write the answer in the comments if you like, if you figure it out. First, figure it out and then work it with an engine if you like. All right, so here we go. This is a check. If he goes here, that'd be checkmate. This is a check. He goes over one. And this is a check. If he really, if he goes here, that'd be mate. And if he goes over one, that'll be check and then mate. So you have a little weird maneuvering, but it's going to be checkmate. All right, that's 20. So I'm going to go ahead with my my game versus bots. Today I'm doing a 1600 bot. It's really odd to miss a puzzle because I'm only doing 1 through 20, so it's really odd. Instead of 1600 bot. So there's 3 people. There's Pablo, Joel, or Isabel. Yeah, that is true. He likes the king attack without worrying about theory. There's a difference between opening setups and opening theory. If you learn a setup, you don't really need to know much theory. You just basically set your pieces on certain squares, and then you just go from there. And that's a very simple way to play chess. You can do that with the London system. There's Stonewall, King's Indian, either attack or defense. There's a couple others too. I can get a list. I think there's like 6 or 7 different setups. He likes Gambit, so I'll play him. I'll put random. Do I have custom bot chat time control 15 minutes? I don't want to be on too long. All right, let's go. Let's play Pablo. So here, focus on undefended pieces, development, pawn play, and trades. Now, I like the King's Gambit, so I'm going to go ahead with that. It's super aggressive. I mean, it's important. You don't have to play the King's Gambit if you do not like it. Trust me. You should only play openings that you enjoy. Because if you enjoy it, you're going to learn more about it. You're going to study more. You're going to care more because you like it, you know? Here, if I take, he'll take. And then my king's really in trouble, right? So I'm going to have to defend this pawn. And there's 2 ways I can do it. I can develop a piece, which is important. I can also play this piece, but if I defend with the pawn, my bishop won't come out, right? So I have two different ways to defend it. The third way is moving the queen here, which I don't really think my queen belongs there. I might move my queen a different time in the game, so I'm not going to move the queen. This right here I don't like too much because it blocks in this bishop. I do like the fact that it opens this one up. However, I still can play this first and decide later if I want to do one or two pushes depending on what's happening. So since I know for a fact I want this move, I'm going to play it. So that's my reasoning, just to let you know a little bit of how I'm thinking about it. Now this forces the issue, right? Now if I can go up and he can, attack it, I can take and he can push or take, all right? So it doesn't look complicated now. I can take here, and if he takes, right? So there's lots of takes, right? The main thing I don't like is this capture here attacking my knight here. It's the main thing I don't like because of this queen. This knight is defending these squares because I opened the squares up to be aggressive, right? So I have to be mindful of that. So my idea, I think, is mostly this. If he comes down to attack my knight, I can always bring my queen over and then eventually support and stuff, So it's a little weird. I'm not sure what's the best move, to be honest, but I'll go ahead and just take. Okay, and this is something that I don't like it too much for me, but I'm going to go ahead and go here. And because I haven't seen this line before specifically, I'm going to have to look at it later on in a deeper way. I'm probably going to use the computer. I don't know if I made mistakes or not, how bad it is, So now there's two threats. There's this here, and then there's this threat here to come here, right? To put that pressure, right? So how do I defend both? How do I move my knight and also here? So the only thing I can think of is going my knight here. My knight will defend the square and is no longer under attack. And another thing about the knight being here is it's kind of an outpost, not really. This pawn can eventually come up, but right now it can't. So this right here is a pretty good place to put my knight. I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's defending here. I get my king out of dodge harm. And I think the best way to get out of harm's way, I'm thinking about moving up here, moving here. The reason I want to go here is because if he takes, I can go back. But I'm concerned after that if he goes here, right? Another thing is that he moved this piece here. He didn't go all the way here because I'll take it, right? So I want to move my pawn up one to defend the square because he might come out, right? So I got to worry about all these different things. So I'm going to go ahead and move this pawn up. This is why I like this opening because it forces lots of different ideas at once. And I'm an intermediate player. I need the practice, right? I need the practice. I need to, learn and push myself. So that's why I like the King's Gambit. I think it's a very good opening for that. All right. What did he take? A pawn. That was a free pawn. I got scared. I thought he took a piece. I mean, did I miss something completely? A little scary. I can take here. The queen can take back. And I'm thinking about moving my bishop here to hit his bishop. If he does want to trade, that's fine. I have to be concerned about where I put my knight later because he might push this up, so I may have to go over here. I'm going to want to castle queen side. My king side is completely destroyed, right? It's look at this. This is horrible. The pawns are horrible, right? So I'm going to go ahead and move here. He takes. Wait. I didn't look. I was thinking of this and then coming over, and then I just moved here. Okay, that was really bad on my part. Really bad. It's really bad when I do it live stream because then people think I don't know how to play chess at all, which is very different than, That's why I'm 1500 and not 2300. That's the difference. So it's I understand what I'm supposed to be doing. I just have to get used to it. Is basically what it is, and that's okay. For me, it is okay. Most people get too overly whelmed and frustrated, don't learn very much because you get too mad at yourself, and then what do you do? What do you do after that, right? All right, so I'm down a piece now. I'm going to figure out what to do. I'm going to go ahead and attack the bishop. And I think I'm going to eventually bring my pieces out, bring my rooks in, and try to attack his king. My king's in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and try my best to develop some type of attack that I think would be worth doing. I really want my rook here to help with the attack. This bishop is kind of useless. So the best way for me to go about it, let's see here. I can just push. I just don't like the fact that, well, he has these squares. I mean, if he goes here, I can just take it, I guess. This knight is going to have to go back. Okay. Now, trading is usually bad, but I don't know really exactly how to go about this. So I can go here, and if he takes, I take. But then that allows him to call check and take my queen, right? So that's not good. So this pawn prevents. Give me 1 second. I hear some noise in the background. Let me make sure it doesn't. I'm not sure if it's in the video or not, but I'm gonna try to make it so it's not. 1 second. All right, there we go. Okay. So for now, I'm going to I think if I take, he takes back. Let's see here. Because if I want knight here, he'll take it for free. I can't take it back, right? So I have to be really mindful. My knight actually can't go here because this knight can take it. So that means I might have to just move this pawn up. So therefore, if I have to force back, I can just, yeah, I'm going to have to do that. And there's a lot of stuff going on. This is super complicated. I really hope my groups, I have three different places I'm sharing this. One was to a friend of mine that has a club that he teaches for kids, and this is really complicated. So I enjoy games like this. I usually don't do it for streaming. The other one is for my under 1,000. Well, they're actually both almost 1,100 now. 2 people, and the third is my 1,400 plus group, which they're going to give me advice. So I hope they have some advice, but I already knew where I went wrong for that one move. So now if I take here, he takes, I can move back, and I gain myself room. So I should be okay. I want to be able to just smash the king, but I can't right now. I don't have to actually worry about this because I can just take back. I'll lose a pawn, though, because he has 2 pieces on it. If he goes up and I go back, he'll take, I take, he takes, and I can't take back because my king. So I'm going to go ahead and just take here now. Okay. Now, after that, I'm a little unsure. I feel like doing this, but I'm not, because where my knight gonna go later, right? I actually can take this pawn, which I didn't notice earlier. So I'm happy about that. I feel like I'm making a smidge progress in some way. Okay, I said check. Oh no, it's not. He said checkmate. It's not mate yet. This is covering a square. He has these squares covered. I have only these 2 squares, and I want to bring my rooks out, right? So I feel like going here because of the rooks. However, he's going to fork me, and I'm losing my queen, right? So I'm forced to go back here, which I don't like. Because now he can go here, threatening something else. Okay, he didn't do that. Lucky for me. So let's see here. How are we going to go ahead and do this? Okay, stopped. All right. Let's see here. How would I go about doing this? Oh no, he's dead. Threatening the queen. I mean, I can go here to hit the rook, and he can defend it. But I really want to get towards his king. I don't want to keep going farther away. And this also helps him bring his rook up to eventually swing him over, right? So why would I do that, right? Why would I give him? Why would I make him move, forcing him to do something that he probably wants to do already? I'm gonna have to move this out the way. But when I move it out the way, he can just pin it, right? So how do I move it in a way that's good for me? Maybe I have to do this. And then when he comes up, I can go here and now I'm defending it. I mean, it seems a little weird, but it's a move I didn't want to play, but I do think it's good for me. It might be good for me. Any other move I see, he's going to come in and hit my rook, and I have no way to defend it, right? So I'm going to have to go ahead, and I can't fully calculate it, but there's not much to really go about it. And it's a fork, so I lost it. I might have lost it anyways, and it's actually checkmate. That was actually pretty interesting, actually, for me. I actually kind of liked it. I haven't been checkmated 19 moves in forever, and it was one blunder. So let me see if I can do a game review, and hopefully it shows. Okay, it's not showing, so I'm gonna have to switch the screen for this thing here. How do I do the... Okay, there it goes. Wow, that means I played extremely horribly this game. This is the first time I've live streamed a horrible
Opening
game.
with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games.
All right.
E5 is a common response that establishes a presence in the center, controls D4, and opens up the queen and dark-squared bishop.
Let's go ahead with this review.
The king's gambit is an aggressive opening that starts with F4 white, weakens their king side to attack the E5 pawn quickly, and can develop with knight F3. Bishop C5 develops the bishop to an active square where it controls the center and attacks the F2 pawn. Knight F3 develops the knight toward the center, controls the D4 square, and attacks the E5 pawn. This overlooks an opportunity to create a pawn chain. This permits the opponent to kick a knight.
So basically, I think I'm supposed to take here.
You ignored an opportunity to capture a free pawn.
I don't know if it was really free, so let's see something here.
After all captures, this is an equal trade.
Oh, okay. So that actually looks really good. I do like this. I was scared for it because I figured like after he took, I was looking at this diagonal and I'm like, that's scary, and I didn't want to do it. And I didn't consider that I can block it. So that's really it's something that I mentally know I've learned how to do. I actually learned pretty much, I think, everything I need to learn, but I don't apply it every time to all situations, and that's something I'm still learning how to do, which is okay, you know. I'm not. No one's a computer. Just go ahead. Go back to.
You ignored an opportunity to capture a free pawn. This strikes at the center with a pawn, trying to gain space. You ignored an opportunity to add a defender to a vulnerable pawn.
Okay.
You allowed
now I explained why
the opponent to kick a knight.
I explained why I didn't like this, but the computer thought it was better. I can look at the specifics later, I guess. Or I can show the moves now. Oh, this is not the correct thing. It was, I gotta hit best first. So it was he came down, and then my move was
this. You ignored an opportunity. You ignored an opportunity to add a defender to a
best.
The pawn is now adequately defended.
I mean, I guess that's okay. I wasn't really considering it because I didn't like moving my queen here because I felt like I can better develop another piece, but I guess that doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna have definitely any game that you play that's really bad compared to your normal games, you definitely want to.
You ignored an opportunity
trying to figure out why.
to add a defender to a vulnerable pawn. You allowed the opponent to kick. This is the way to win a pawn. You are threatening to tactically win a bishop. This leads to a material winning pin. You overlooked an opportunity to capture a vulnerable pawn. The game is still close to equal, but black lost their advantage. You are threatening to win a pawn by kicking a key defender. This ignores an opportunity to prepare a retreat square for the king.
See, me, I was not focused on this pawn here, and I probably should have been. It kept missing opportunity for a pawn. I was too worried about my development, and this pawn here really makes it difficult for me to develop. So I missed one of those ideas, and that's why I kept making that mistake over and over again in regards to the pawn.
You allowed the opponent to eventually win a pawn. This misses an opportunity to tactically win a pawn. You're going to end up losing a bishop. You ignore
Yeah, that was really
an
bad.
opportunity to capture a vulnerable pawn.
I wanted to take the knight. Let's see what it says. Okay,
This maintains the balance and material with a good trade.
they wanted me to take. Okay, that makes sense.
This
That
misses an
actually,
You allowed the opponent to eventually win a pawn. This misses
Yeah.
an opportunity to tactically win a pawn.
This right here is actually really good. I've done stuff like that a lot in the perk. In the perk defense, it was actually pretty good. And I usually do this in the perk defense against my. I will go here, take the knight. I take a pawn. He'll take with the knight, and then I push the pawn up, hitting both. So I missed a complete idea. For some reason, my brain was not focused on this pawn when it should have been, and that strategically is where everything was bad. Basically, all my moves were bad because I completely kept missing the idea of that pawn.
You're going to end up losing a bishop. You capturing that biship. You're going to end up losing a bishop. You ignored an
If you seen
opportunity
earlier,
to capture a vulnerable pawn.
if you seen the game earlier, I was supposed to be doing this, and I messed up. So,
Capturing that bishop wins material.
and I just didn't recover. If you look at this right here, the value bar was basically the same the whole time. So the whole game was basically
Not the best move, but not bad either. This creates luft for the king. You're kicking their bishop out of a useful square. This leaves a pawn without. You overlooked an opportunity to capture a free pawn.
yeah. There's this pawn here to kill me. This pawn, man.
This defends the attacked pawn. This move is okay. That's not a mistake. That was a fair recapture. You had a better option, but this is not bad. This wins. You escape the check. This wins a tempo. You allow the opponent to force eventual checkmate.
Yeah. All right, that's not bad. All right, that was a good game. I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna get rid of it. It's not something that I feel that I should just be like, oh no, it was a bad game. I should get it out and not like make it public. Like it's fine. I lose games. We all lose games. I know I just feel weird sometimes because I've had people sometimes be insulting or sometimes be weird, and I worry about views and other stuff. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not 2,300. I'm not 2,500, and I don't edit my videos, and I like it to be very authentic and very simple. So to me, I'm gonna keep it. And hopefully, when you lose or when you are losing and you try to review a game, you can kind of look at it and understand something and learn from it instead of just be overly frustrated and feel like it has to be perfect because it's just it does feel good when you have perfect games. I know it does for me, but it's perfectly okay to learn too. If you need both, you need to be okay with your losses and learn from them, and also be happy with your good wins. If you only focus on your wins, you're not going to learn from your losses. So now I have to review my opening. I haven't seen that setup before, but now I have to really look into it deeply because I would hate if I played a chess tournament and I lost like that because I decided not to review a game because I was bothered by how it turned out. So good luck. I hope you learned something. And yeah, I was literally missing one thing the whole game. That was those pawns. I was not focused on that. I was trying to develop and not. Yeah, so that basically what cost me the whole game is me not worrying about pawn in the center. So I'm gonna next time for sure understand if I need to focus on that pawn. I was too worried about the knight and the bishop, and then that was my development. That was my mistake. So I hope you learned something. Hopefully you learned enough to not make my mistake. Good luck. I hope you enjoy your chess as much as I do, or even more. Thank you for watching. All right. 1 second here. Let me make sure there's no comments really quick. I have chat off because I was told that